Here we are, Brad. Welcome.
Podcast number one.
Podcast number one. Welcome to our listeners and viewers. My name is Pas Princey. I'm the host of It's All About the Grey podcast. And today I've got a great friend of mine and someone that we would all very well know, Brad Young from the Grout Guy.
Maybe not me, but the business, yes.
The business, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brad, I think it's fair to say everyone knows who the Grout Guy is, but I don't know if they actually know who Brad is. So why don't we start with that, Brad? Why don't you tell us a bit about you and how you've grown to be the business that it is today, but more importantly, the person behind the business, because I feel that's very important.
So, Perth born, bred, grew up here, played ice hockey. That was probably the biggest defining moment of my childhood because I played that forever. Went to Canada for a year, played over there. That was in high school, so year 11. And then came back, didn't finish school, and then sort of fell into regrouting. So I was a family friend. High school, I say drop out, but it's, I dropped out by choice. Like it wasn't like I wasn't smart enough or anything.
You weren't kicked out, were you?
I wasn't kicked out, no. No, it's, not at all. Did that, and then, fell into it, as I said. First day on the job, Graham, who I learnt off, he was called the shower man.
Okay, the shower man, right.
First day on the road. So he had a Kingsley phone fax number. Not that you're probably old enough to know what a fax is, but phone fax numbers.
I know a fax. I know a fax.
So a Kingsley phone fax and a Bentley phone fax, just because he moved. Right?
Okay.
So he moved from Kingsley to Bentley, so north to south, if anyone that doesn't know Perth. And he offered me the Kingsley number for 25 grand, first day I worked for him.
Right.
And then 18 months later, I convinced Mum to give me 35 grand. So I had 10 grand working cap.
Working capital. Okay,
And,
so you're already across the working capital piece.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, there's something else I'll come back to in a minute with finances. But
okay.
Yeah, did that and never really looked back. I sort of went after the...
And what age were you, mate?
17.
17.
Yeah.
So you just
as soon as I came back.
You'd picked up the fax number, 17, got a loan from Mum.
Yep.
And then what?
Mucked around.
You mucked around a bit?
For a good, only a year or two here.
Okay.
Then moved to the Gold Coast. Me and the missus, I met my now wife when we were 17.
Right,
So same sort of time, just after I got back actually.
Fantastic, yeah.
And so we wanted to travel together, so we went to the Gold Coast for a couple of years. Lived there, played, they had a team in the National Ice Hockey League, so I played there for a while.
Played a bit of ice hockey, great.
Had the business over there for a little bit, did a little bit of work, but really just enough to get by. Then came home, still mucked around for a year or two. Mainly because I was playing hockey. Hockey's like 30 hours a week, right?
Yeah, okay.
So
you're
sort of what we worked
pretty well
out.
full-time almost in hockey.
Pretty much. So then I was like, right, what happens if, I quit hockey at 2015, I believe.
Okay.
And then from there, the business just took off.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so that's in a nutshell.
Okay, so you really didn't get the Grout Guy going until 2015, from what I'm gathering. You were really heavily focused on ice hockey.
Yeah, so at the end, December 15, I engaged a franchise consultant.
Okay.
Because we were going to franchise.
Yep.
And then we went to Franchise Expo in June of that next year, 16, May or June. And then we discovered that the margins just weren't there. So either we had to charge a lot more, so we build margins in, or...
Which the client would lose out on,
yeah,
right?
we don't really like that.
Yes.
Especially seeing our professional slogan is low-cost solutions for leaking showers.
That's it.
So we're not,
So you're
all
true
of a
to
sudden,
purpose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So we sort of moved away from that if we were going to continue that route.
Right.
So we didn't. Best mate wanted to take master franchise of Victoria. He was pretty shitty that we pulled out of the franchising thing. So he was like, right, how do I do Melbourne?
Okay.
Now? And that's how he came up with the current sort of license agreement where he owns, I still own the majority of that, but he's got ownership in the other states.
So he took it to the other states and pretty much from December 15, or it was probably early 16 by that point, or late 16, You never looked back?
Yeah, probably late 16. By the time we really started going,
Okay.
we had sort of 5 or 6 guys then. Yeah, just over 100 or 110 or something now. So
Okay, so
Yeah.
fast forward 8 years.
yeah,
Where are we at today? As a business, where are we at?
I say 110, but that was that's 6 or 8 weeks ago, and we have hired over east. So yeah, probably nearing on 120 by now.
Wow. 120
full-time staff.
120 full-time staff.
Yep. And yeah, there's about 85, 90 of them are guys on the road in vans doing the job.
Great team on the road, yeah.
Then there's about 20 odd sales management sort of staff.
Okay.
There's a couple of admin,
Great.
and some others on the way. Yeah.
And Brad, what you probably haven't touched on, which I'm aware of, you're very big on developing systems and processes in your businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably fair to say, as we discussed earlier, that you learnt a lot in the early stages of business. So to get to a level like that, and you're smiling now, it's taken a lot of pain. So why don't you talk to us or to the listeners, more importantly, about scaling a business and the pain points of scaling, again, that people don't really know.
So I'm going to go back, way back, because it's easier for the context, I guess.
Okay, sure.
Colin's diary. Most people should know what that is. Well, most people over 30 will know what that is. That's how I used to run the business, out of a diary, and then you just write down. Someone calls, you write down the name and number, address,
in the diary.
And you're right. I can be there, whatever. You just look through when I can get there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's a man in a van. That's how we did it.
A man in a van.
And then we went to. A friend of mine had an iPod, one of the very first iPods, like the touch iPod things.
Yes.
Before the iPhone came out,
right?
So it was a touch iPod. And then we learnt to sync the Google Calendar.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Right. So so moving on from the Collins Diary.
Yes.
We then went to
Stage 2,
Google Calendar, print out every day of the jobs, on a clipboard.
Right.
So I was like, hang on. So it was because we had to sort of put that into the Google Calendar because we were running a couple of guys. So the wife or mum at that point.
Okay.
So
someone had to write it into the calendar and then it would
get
synced.
then print them out every morning, pain
Got
us.
it. Yep.
And you just can't scale things like this, right?
Of course.
At all.
It's tough.
So then, fast forward to we went to ServiceMate for a while. That's a really good job management scheduling sort of system. Mm-hmm. We started to break that a few years ago. And I say break it, it was just too many calls in and out, like API calls were limited, and then
got it.
All software jargon, basically.
Yes.
And then we looked at Salesforce very early on in the ServiceMate sort of journey. We looked at Salesforce. Fast forward a year or two after that, we started to really break ServiceMate. Went to Salesforce again. Took us 2 years to build what we've got now.
Right.
About $1 million.
Yeah.
Into that, and we arguably, I think we've got one of the best systems for our size business.
Fantastic.
Hands down.
So, quantum-wise, how many jobs are you putting through on a weekly or daily basis? Because, you've got 110, 120 vans on the road. It's either 1 or 2 jobs per van per day. How does it work? Yeah,
so there's appointments a week is probably the way we would say it.
Okay.
We've got obviously jobs and then quotes.
Yeah.
We would have in the region of 1,000 a week.
Wow.
Or so.
Wow.
Probably 800 to 1,000 a week.
Wow.
Of either quotes or jobs.
That's impressive. So you go from one fax number to 800 to 1,000 appointments.
Yeah.
In the space of realistically 8 years.
Yep.
That is impressive.
Thank you.
That is very, very impressive. So it goes to show that, as Brad puts it, a high school dropout, you stuck to your guns, you trusted in what you believed was the way to grow a business. I suspect you'd had some good advisors on board, but ultimately it was about scaling through systems and processes.
Yeah. As soon as I discovered that, I think, and then for someone who had no business, I had business acumen, I guess, to a degree. I think
it only gets you so far.
Yeah, sort of parents and who you associate with, you sort of got that right. But putting it into real day-to-day operations, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. So, Brad, it's fair to say you've built a successful business. That is probably fair to say. You've come across, the 5-year hurdle. You've surpassed that. You've got, this fantastic business. What drives you just to continue growing it? What gets you out of bed? You've got the business. What is it?
I like beating my state manager at ping pong.
Okay, so it's a ping pong
Shout out
tournament.
to Nick if he's ever going to listen to this, but I'll make him listen to it now.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's one of those things that it's sort of organically growing now.
Okay.
We got it to that point, and yes, I like to be hands-on to a degree. I'm dabbling in other things as well at the moment. We're going into sort of a plumbing, water filtration.
A value-added service is probably the way to put it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we're looking pretty heavily into that, or we've committed to it. It's just hasn't launched just yet.
Fantastic.
But there'll be another silly brand and
more
and
news
jingle
to come.
coming.
Well,
mate.
Another jingle.
Yeah,
we haven't talked about the jingle, not yet.
We haven't talked about that yet, but that's coming. Property's another one. Like I love.
Great.
I hate it for so many years. But yeah, I'm on the property train at the moment. I think everything's going a bit nuts here.
So as you could probably put it, then it's not about growing one business. It's probably about growing a portfolio that drives you, right? Ultimately, the Grout Guy is now that foundation.
Yeah.
Now it's what's next, and that's a testament to you, right? As an entrepreneur, you're always looking for something more.
Yeah, exactly. It's just something. It's more so. Like I'm not that I'm bored with it. I shouldn't say that. But
yep. You're looking for a challenge. You want something to get your teeth stuck into, right?
There's only so many showers that are going to get regret every day in Perth. Or in any city,
in
right?
any city, any state. Yes.
Adelaide's very much on the cards. That will happen in the next month or 6 weeks.
Great.
Okay. But like we've done it in 3 other states. Like Adelaide's just another. It's a copy and paste thing.
Yeah.
It's not too difficult.
Yeah. Or you've got the foundation again, systems, processes, you drop it in and you keep moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah.
Oh, good. Great. So, mate, you've touched on it and I'm now going to bring it up.
Righto. Here we go.
The jingle.
The jingle.
Tell us what coffee you drank. The people want to know.
Righto.
At what point did you come up with this jingle?
So it's a Bull Creek shopping centre off Stock Road, I believe, in Leaming. Or Bull Creek, sorry.
Bull Creek, yes.
There's a Jamaica Blue coffee shops do a jumbo size, and it's a very big coffee.
A big coffee, so it's a jumbo Jamaica Blue
soy mocha. That's,
soy mocha.
If anyone sees me on the street and recognises me, you can buy me coffee. But, and then I sung the actual words to the hokey pokey. You take the old grout out, you put the new grout in. I sung it to the hokey pokey and recorded it. I sort of, it took me 10 or 15 to get it, all the lyrics sort of right, some sort of a jingle.
Jingle with grout.
Sent it to my marketing guy. He just pissed himself laughing.
As
Leon,
you would.
he was just like,
shout out to Leon.
What are you on, mate? Yeah. And I was like, I had a big coffee.
I don't know what was in the Colombian coffee. I don't know what beans we're talking, but
I know.
Mate,
no, it was good. It was a good one. But that was the sort of the beginning of it. We had it sort of rewritten from Sony were going to charge us an arm and a leg for the rights to hokey pokey, so we had to change it enough that it was away from that.
Right.
Which is what it is now, and served us pretty well. So.
And it's probably fair to say it's one of the most renowned jingles by business in this modern era. There's been a fair few, but it's fair to say, as I said to you this morning, I was up in Wangara, I was visiting our office, and you're almost a celebrity. To say the Grout Guy, I'm catching up with the Grout Guy, and the moment it's fascinating. You recently won 40 under 40 and Large Business of the Year, which is a testament again to you and the business you've built. But I said to you, I was in the crowd that night, and the moment the Grout Guy was said, the instant reaction was the jingle.
Yeah.
And that is a powerful thing to create.
Yeah.
And again, you having a coffee and speaking to Leon.
Well, that's it. I think branding was always a key thing. So just going back to the name, actually, that's probably pretty important.
Yeah, good. Now let's touch on the name. Why not?
So I was driving my sister's car in Thornley one night with a mate named Josh Punchin. So if he ever listens, shout out to Josh.
Yeah, Josh.
Probably owe him a beer or two, or a few anyway.
A few beers. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, what are you doing, Josh?" He's like, I'm just cutting glass somewhere. He's cutting glass for some glazing company. We're both like 16, 17.
Yeah.
Just young and dumb. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm re-grouting showers." He's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, grout comes out and you put it back in." He's like, "Oh," and he said it. He's like, "Oh, so you're the grout guy?" And it was he said it first, and then
he's gonna have a royalty on that name.
Yeah. If you'll probably hit me up after this. But the next morning I registered it. I was hungover as buggery.
Yeah.
But yeah, went and registered it.
The Grout Guy.
And yeah, that was a name. I just thought it was a really like sort of catchy name, I guess, and sort of spoke to what we did as well.
So, Brad, it's fair to say you're obviously intuitive, right? You sit down, you really analyse what the people want, what you would want, and ultimately you find the solution. Is that a fair, like you came up with a jingle, you've come up with a name, talking to the boys, like there's no real rocket science. You can read all the books you want, you can do all the study you want, but ultimately it needs to be simple, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think you can, like analysis paralysis, you can look at things for forever in a day. And it's, I've got friends who do this. Like property's a good one. Right at the moment, property's a fucking good one.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, especially in WA. I don't know about the rest of the country, but we've got a housing crisis that's unforeseen.
Yeah.
Well, not unforeseen, like you see it coming.
Yeah.
And why in my opinion anyway, why are people hesitating if they're in the market to buy a property? Why are they hesitating? Mm-hmm. Like they just shouldn't be, unless it's not quite right, and you sort of put a bid in somewhere and you go, "Oh, if I get it, happy days. If I don't, it doesn't matter."
Okay.
But I think it's that same attitude, like if it's business or property or whatever you're doing, just go after it.
Go for it.
And see what happens. You're going to make a mistake or two along the way, of course. Whatever, crack on.
But it's the best way to learn, right?
Absolutely.
Making a mistake, there's nothing wrong with making a mistake.
Arguably, it's cheaper than a union degree or something else. So, any sort of advice or any takeaways people can take from me, just give it a crack and stick to your guns and carry on. If you have balls it up massively, well, you figure it out later.
Yeah. And I was just going to touch on that, insight and advice to young entrepreneurs, and it's simple. Go for it.
Yeah, crack on. Don't sit there and think about this or think about that. Oh, do I need to hire someone? Just go fucking hire someone.
Yeah.
Like, don't
get it done.
Dick around for so long that, 3 years later, some bloke who started 6 months after you's got 50 vans on the road.
Yeah.
Because you were just mucking around.
Yeah. Just go for it. There's a problem, as you've very clearly put it.
Yeah.
Find the solution.
Absolutely.
And develop a business around that.
Yeah. There's always work. Great. Everyone's like, oh, is there going to be enough work? There's always work.
There's always an opportunity, right?
Yeah, 100%.
We're a state of opportunity. We're a country of opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think you rightly put it. Young entrepreneurs, they know there's a problem. Go and do something about it.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. No, that's great advice, mate. So Brad, there is clearly a grey art to managing business, growing business. How do you master it? How do you teach it? How do you manage it? It's a bit of a loaded question, but you're used to operating in the grey, from what I can see. As I said, there's no book you've picked up and said, "Oh, call yourself the Grout Guy." You sat down, you've just thought about things, and as I said, there's a bit of a grey art to getting to the point you've got to. So, how would you describe the teachings or the learnings, or what is it that you've done that you could say, you know what, there was a bit of an art to that?
Going back to our last sort of point, like a lot of experience.
Okay.
And whether that be, there's a lot of mistakes along the way, which is fine. I encourage everyone to make mistakes, especially like the management in our business.
Right.
like everyone always they run things by me a lot.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know any better than you.
Yeah.
So like if it's on the board, Aaron's gonna listen to this and like just freak out. Anyway, another email. Aaron's a mutual friend of ours. He's a lawyer.
Yes.
So just for context, but
Yes.
like if it's some sort of a legal or a dispute, I'm just like, yeah, just send it. Like whatever. If it's wrong, we'll figure it out later. But 99% of the time, like common sense prevails.
Again,
so you just get through it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
the grey art. It's probably fair to say there's a grey art in making mistakes.
There is making mistakes. Just not don't make them catastrophic.
Yeah,
obviously.
of course not. Of course not.
But that's again, there's a little bit of common sense there as well.
So there's a common sense art in making mistakes.
100%.
Right? It's probably fair to say, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which is again, people are so afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of upsetting people. Causing the business to do bad things or not have the reputation it needs to have. But you're right. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. As a matter of fact, you should make them. You should challenge the norm, correct?
Always.
Yeah.
Like if you go, any business that has 5,000 5-star reviews, you're gonna question it, right?
Yeah, correct.
You're gonna hang on a minute. You can't have 5,000 customers not piss a few of them off.
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna annoy a few of them.
Of course.
You're dealing with the public, so I think that's as much as it hurts, when you get the 1-star review because someone has balls, someone's
ballsed up something.
Had a shit job.
Yep.
Someone's had a bad day.
It happens.
Tradies have bad days. It is what it is, right?
Yes.
So it's just how you react to it. If
correct.
You
Exactly
get back
right.
and fix
it's the reaction.
Exactly.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
So, Brad, one thing I touched on earlier, you've got this year. You've clearly been recognised. You've won a substantial amount of awards. But there's something that we both can agree on, and it's about now the importance of giving back to the community, and to that end, you recently did a charity walk. Do you want to tell the listeners about that and what you took away from the walk? So
it was the Zero to Hero CEO Cape to Cape Trek. So I've said it right there.
Yeah, good work. Yes.
So Augusta to Dunsborough, or Lewin to Naturalist, the lighthouses. You've done it as well, haven't you?
Yes, I've done it.
It's a bloody long walk.
It's a long walk,
over 5 days. So Zero to Hero, empowering young minds, suicide prevention.
Great charity.
Yeah,
Great
Ashley
charity.
Harrison's
Great job.
inception of his idea.
Yes.
Great cause, I guess. So that's
absolutely, absolutely.
Getting behind it, and I think the education piece that they sort of concentrate on more so than just prevention. I think that's
correct, and that's the critical bit.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And I think we perhaps, maybe I shouldn't say that, but like we don't want to be parents. I've got 4 boys, and like I see it amongst peers, I guess, as in other parents that they're just helicopter parents and wrapping kids up in bubble wrap, and it's let them fall over, let them make mistakes, let them fight and build a bit of resilience in themselves. Otherwise, they'll get to 15 and someone will smack them or tease them, and
or something would happen. Yes,
and they just got nothing. No experience in dealing with that. With that at all.
With that issue, exactly right. So you went on the trek. I'm sure you met some fantastic people. You raised a lot of money. What was the total number that was raised, Brad?
The total was $740 odd.
$740,000.
Yeah, it was a bloody lot of money.
It
really was.
That's seriously impressive, and it's something you and the crew should be really proud of, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. It was I believe it's their biggest sort of single event.
Great.
But yeah, I think it's I didn't contribute much to that, but in saying that, I learnt a lot about fundraising that by talking to the guys along the way. It was my sort of first crack at any sort of thing like that, which is, as I said before, you just give it a go, and you learn from, I wouldn't say mistakes, because still raising a good chunk of change. But
Yes.
yeah, it's a great cause.
Great. So, so Brad, obviously, typically you'd say, where can we find you? What have you done, et cetera, et cetera. People know who you are and what you do.
Yep.
People probably haven't had the opportunity to understand the name behind the brand, which is the purpose of what we really wanted to share today. Is that you're not some genius. You didn't inherit this bunch of wealth that you've now it was your father's business, et cetera, et cetera. You've built it yourself. You've clearly made a lot of mistakes. You've had the resilience to continue moving forward. What makes you want to continue pursuing this career, and what does that end goal look like?
What makes me want to keep pursuing it? Like 4 boys. So
Good.
Place Archie, Rigby, Nolan, and 5, 3, 2, 6 months.
Wow.
So they're all young, all close together. Want to provide them with. I don't want to be spoiled brats. Like that's one thing that we got to.
They got to work hard. Get in the van and start grouting.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
They're the next 4 employees. No, it's so obviously for them to give them the best start in life. I think that's pretty important. I really wanted the business set to a point when I was 40, which is 4.5 years off yet. But so when, so within the next 4.5 years, I want there enough income to be there.
Right.
I don't have
to support your family.
Yeah, there's no
right. Okay.
I mean, arguably, I could say that now. Like, we don't really have to. I don't have to rock up every day and be there for 8 hours a day or anything like that. I can run it very remotely if I wanted to.
Right. But that's not who you are.
Not that I do that, because I need to beat Nick at ping pong. Of course.
You need to beat Nick at ping pong.
We need to go
of
back
course,
to that.
We got that too.
But no, it's a great fun culture at work, and I want to keep it that way. But yeah, that's the most important thing, is to be a good example for the kids. Build it as big as I can by 40, maybe early 40s, and then not retire, but there's a big goal that me and the wife have spoken about.
Right.
We want to buy a big boat at 40 or thereabouts when the youngest can swim.
When he can swim,
and then we'll do the eastern seaboard, then up into New Guinea and Indo and Thailand. Take a year off school.
Fantastic.
And just go.
And just enjoy life.
Yeah.
And the fruits of building a successful business.
And just give the boys, I think, that.
And give the boys an opportunity.
Yeah, something a bit different.
To get ahead.
Yeah.
So do you see the boys driving a van, Brad? That's the real question. Or they're not made for Grout?
Well, look, they're all pretty young. We're still at firefighters and astronauts.
Okay.
So,
okay, not yet.
If they're firefighters and astronauts, good on them.
Maybe they'll be driving a spaceship, mate.
They might be. Actually, the second one loves his go-kart. So yeah, he's the slenderest build. So he might end up in racing.
Next Ricciardo, maybe.
Mate, I loved it as a kid. So maybe he can get into that. Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, look, Brad, thanks for your time. It's fair to say, as I've touched on many, many times in the show, you've built a successful business. You've made a lot of mistakes, but you've had the resilience to continue moving forward.
Yep.
Getting up every day, no matter how big or what you've got, it's never easy. You've got the entrepreneurial spirit to keep going. And I think, as I said, it's a testament to not only the business you've built, but to the individual you are behind the business. And I'm really, really excited to continue staying in touch with you, to continue seeing the business grow, and ultimately to see these new ventures come through, because the industry is evolving.
It is,
and as you know, it's important to stay ahead, and clearly you've got avenues to do that. So
100%.
Thanks for coming on.
Mate, thank you.
And hopefully everyone had an opportunity to have a good listen. And if you've got any questions, Brad, where can people find you?
brad.young@thegroutguy.com.au.
There you go.
Email me. And
Email me. New jingles. Brad's open.
Always.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
mate.
Pass.